Welcome everybody to the 6th question mark meeting of Game Development Club. Can you go over slide? So, first things up is announcements. There we go. So first thing, we have a workshop this weekend about advanced Unity stuff. I kind of named it because it's a bunch of stuff that is really useful but doesn't really fit one category that at all. It's really good stuff like object instantiation. We'll be going over coroutines, the thing I said not to worry about the 1 week. We'll be going over ray casting with physics. A little bit of particle systems probably. Nate kind of touched up on that last time. As well as a couple other things. And we will be making a meteor dodging game. I don't really know how to explain it. But basically, meteors will be raining down from the sky and you have to run around and dodge them. So if you're interested in learning some stuff about Unity that's kind of advanced, definitely check that out. If you haven't done anything with Unity or you missed the last week or anything like that, we upload all of our workshops so you can check it out there. As usual, if you have something you want to show off at the beginning of the meeting, let one of the exec members know. And we will give you a chance to talk about it. It doesn't have to be a full game. It doesn't have to be the start of a game. It can be an idea. It can be concept art, anything like that. And then we also have t-shirts here for $5 still. This is what they look like. They're $5. I cannot guarantee you a size. I think we're out of mediums or larges, one of the two. What?
I think we're out of medium and large.
We got extra larges and smalls, so if you want some PJs or something, I guess, you know, extra large and it doesn't fit you, it's $5, it's not much. But we're not going to be bringing them in anymore. If you want one, let us know and we'll bring one for you. But I'm going to stop lugging this thing back and forth since we haven't gotten much recently. Yeah. Then coming up very soon, we have our game jam. Where you can create a game in 48 hours in a group by yourself, however you want to do, based on a theme. We got a pretty sweet theme cooked up this year. Should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun seeing what everybody comes up with. We're gonna have our posters up sometime tomorrow, so look for those. I think that's about it for announcements. Yes.
All right, I just have one to announce. Speaking of creating games, and class registration is coming up, there is a class where you can make games for an entire semester. I'm not sure if it's co-listed in computer sciences, but in design it is RIS 409, and you can go in as a programmer, an artist, or writer, or in business. There's a fair number of prerequisites. I have them written down if anyone's interested, but yeah, take it as a class.
Yeah, there's at least I think 2 classes, because then there's also the game dev class that's for multiple people in here are also in it. For what?
Yeah. 4:30. I want to say it's 4:30 something, but I haven't taken it.
It's like I have it.
Is it 437? That sounds right.
It is, yeah, 437.
Yeah, ComSci 437? Yeah, ComSci 437 is also one. So if you've taken computer graphics, definitely check that out. Yep.
Yeah, this one you work in teams to fully like publish games.
Yeah, the professor for that is a really cool guy. I tell you what, I met him last year when I was trying to figure out how to get into a practicum. So
Sweet.
Yeah.
We have 2 larges left and 4 Excel.
2 larges, 4 XL.
Oh, words.
Thank you. Inventory. Inventory. That's why we took it, finally. Okay, then without further ado, we're gonna get into our meeting. You don't get to listen to my beautiful voice anymore, too bad. For the most part.
for the most part.
So Dominic here is our creative chair.
What up?
Let me get this out of the way.
I can't get this on my back pocket. I got it.
And do we have any of our creative committee here?
Way in the back.
Sorry.
That's fine.
I think I got 2 minutes. I'm not sure.
2.5 works.
Yeah. I'm half a person.
Wow. Hello. Yes, my name is Dominic Keeper. I am your creative chair. One thing I would like to point out really quick is that Alina, is that how you say your name? Sorry. She was the one that created our final poster design for the game jam coming up. So, yay. And I think I'm going to start looking for a little bit more creative help. Currently, I only have 3 people in the group. And I'm just looking for a little bit more help to try and come up with more designs for what's upcoming. You know, T-shirt designs, more game jam, you know, stuff like that. So, if anyone wants to join the creative committee, come to me. I can get your name written down and get all that stuff organized. So yeah. Otherwise, today I'm going to be doing a creative design thing for you guys. Basically, I'm just going to go through kind of types of design, how to start a design, how to make your design actually fit, and like flow with your game, and like really where to start in creative development of your game. I'm going to talk about both sort of game design and overall art aspects. So not just like actual game design, but more of like a graphic style as well. So yeah, here where to start, I basically am saying that design is definitely key, because when you're developing a game, you may have fantastic mechanics, but your game can still be pretty bad if it looks bad. If your guy jumps and you don't move, it's weird. So definitely, design is definitely key when doing that. And one aspect to that would be knowing your audience when creating the design for your game. So children's games should be kind of cartoony or something very low paced in terms of design. So rectangles, octagons, actual geometrical shapes. For starting out a design, I would definitely say try and sketch out a lot of designs first. So if you're creating a character, make more than one design. Sketch them all out on paper or pencil, or put them into a program such as Photoshop or Illustrator, or find your own if you can't afford Adobe stuff, because that's expensive. And that's basically how you would start your design. I would never try and put something into your game first before starting or after starting your development. Always try and make your art before putting it into your game, because then you know if it looks good and you won't have to take it out later to make new.
And it's also important not to hold back your game development just for the artwork. Like
Yes.
if it's taking a while to do artwork, that's where the term gray boxing comes in.
Yep.
Which is basically using.
I got it.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. No, keep going. I'm okay. Anyway, yeah, no. So the next slide would be to fit it in. Basically, to make sure the game looks good with the art style that you have. Just talking about like the kid games, like I was saying before, something like Minecraft, I don't believe would look very good if it had realistic graphics. Trying to make things into squares while still having like real life skin would be kind of scary almost, I feel. Yeah. Or like
Trying to have some conflicting design choices.
yeah, it would be weird. Or like if you had like the new Call of Duty and had Borderlands graphics in that. Now, to be honest, that'd be kind of cool, but it'd be very awkward to go with. So definitely make your style fit into the type of game you're going with. Everything in your game should have a similar art style. You're not gonna want like My Little Pony graphics with Doom, because that.
I kind of
Why you make statements like this? Because that sounds good.
Which side you play at, so definitely.
You know what? I understand. Yeah, so basically when you're creating a game, definitely think of the art style as a whole and not just like singular aspects. So when you have like an 8-bit game, everything in your game except for like minor things or like such as UI or something is all going to be 8-bit. So just have that thought in the back of your head as you're kind of creating the first things, just to make sure that you can kind of get it all encompassed into one art style in the end. And run everything past the team that you're working with, because most of the time when you're creating a game, you're going to be working with a team. So definitely run it past them, make sure it works with the overall game flow, to make sure that everyone is okay with what you're doing, and to make sure it works with the game style. So yes, so rules to design. Basically, this slide goes over more of like the graphics / art style of the game. So the rules in the game design is obviously a bit more lenient than actually drawing out or concept art or like cutscenes, because when you're doing those, you have specific details that you have to get right, such as color contrasting, different types of color theories. Basically, you want everything to look fantastic at every single point in a concept art or in a cutscene, just to make sure that the player has the most effect, has the most effect on the player overall, because the game itself is going to be great. The player is not going to be paying as much attention to the art style when playing as they are while they're specifically paying attention to one thing. So that's definitely a big thing, but it is a lot more lenient with game design in that aspect, because again, when you're in a game, you're not paying as much attention to the art style as you are with the mechanics. Another thing, again with geometry, is what we were talking about before. Start out, when you do start out, don't think of all of the art as one. Just make basic geometrical shapes, such as squares, triangles, or rectangles, or circles. A house could come out of a square and a rectangle, or a square and a triangle super easy. Just add in more and more geometrical shapes until that comes out to be really nice, basically, because the more squares, the more circles you add into that one house, you could make it fantastic just by geometrical shapes. And that does count for the gray boxing, is what it was called? Yeah. So yeah, when you start that out, you don't have to have everything be textured, you don't have to have everything look fantastic. Just focus on the basic geometrical shapes at first, and then build off of that. And I would say try and keep a lot of things geometrically similar. Basically, just like everything you do, it kind of has to balance itself out. So just try to keep everything simple at first, and then if you have to go into complex, then you can. So.
And going back real quick to what the players are focusing on a lot of the time. A good example of that being really important is if you have a game that's very story and cinematic and dialogue driven, and then you don't focus on nailing down the art style and the animations and whatnot, you get a game like Mass Effect Andromeda. You guys have seen that?
Oh yeah.
Which is very noticeable that the animations are not very clean. Because so much of the game is focused on dialogue and story and cinematics. So if your game has a focus on that kind of stuff, you definitely want to make sure you nail it more so than a game that's much more mechanically driven, for instance.
Definitely, I would agree. Yes, so basically, throw out the last slide. So rules are meant to be broken when creating a video game. Some of the main things that would be in this if it fits in your style really, really well, if someone asks for it specifically, or if it just works really well with the flow. So basically, one of the main things I thought about this would be, again, going back to that Call of Duty My Little Pony thing. All I could think about while creating this slide was Diablo 3 and the Rainbow Goblins, where when you kill one, you go into this dimension of just rainbows, unicorns, and flowers. Still works really well with the flow of the game because you do get to kill everything in it, but it's really fun. But it's not consistent with the actual art style or the flow of the game, but it works really well, and it was actually specifically asked for by one of the devs at Blizzard. So they actually just fit that in there as one of their events, and now it's like permanently in there. So that's pretty cool.
World or something in Diablo 2 or something?
Yeah, there's also the cow level where
I do know that
Cows. Killed a lot of cows.
I do know that they do make weapons in Diablo 3 that you can spawn cows to fight for you. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know that thing about Diablo 2, but that's pretty cool. But yeah, just make sure, like when you are putting something in your game that doesn't fit with anything else, make sure it either flows really well or it is specifically like you really want it. So yes, so make it work. Do remember that everything that you make is gonna be in the game, or not everything you make is gonna be in the game, because you are part of a team. Everything you do will get assessed by your team. So everything that you do everyone else will come in and judge it. So make sure, for one, it's good, and for two, don't get set on it. So don't make your own decisions on what should be put into the game, because half the time it's probably not going to be put in the game. And bring in everyone you can when you're being critiqued. So bring in other artists to critique your art. Bring in the programmers to critique what they can do compared to your art. Such as, like, if we're doing a fireball mechanic and I create a water ball, that's not going to work. So just make sure everyone in the group, and I mean everyone, knows what you're doing, and make sure it works with your team. So it's definitely a huge thing.
Yeah, really quick side note. How many of you have heard the phrase, "I'd like to see you do this," when someone critiques something? Usually on YouTube. It's almost always on YouTube when somebody critiques something on YouTube. That's a bullshit argument, because I can see the greatest piano player ever go up on stage and flop their hands all around the keyboard and play garbage, and I'm allowed to say, as someone who's not very good at piano, yeah, that doesn't sound very good. You should probably get better. So a programmer coming in and looking at your art and saying, your art, and saying, I think maybe this could be changed. You don't have to tell them, well, you can't make art, so fuck you. That's not nice.
Yeah.
And they bring up a lot of good points sometimes. So definitely keep that in mind, that is not a good argument, and
Yeah.
a lot of people that don't have experience with stuff can still bring valuable insight and good feedback.
Yeah, so actually I do have experience with that. I was in a game development group at my first college, and we had to create a full game over the summer. And one of my tasks was to make everyone under me work. And so one of the guys worked really, really hard on a specific model for one of our creatures, and we handed it. Everyone thought it looked fantastic. Like, we were all ready for that to be in the game. We handed it to the programmer, and he's like, I don't know what you want me to do with this. There's like this. There's no way I can fit this into that. Like, it was just horrible, because we had to completely scrap that character, because it was just impossible for the programmer to get done on time. So do definitely ask the programmers what they can do when you are creating art. And I realize most of you in here are programmers, so this might not be directed specifically at you, but if you are creating art, just make sure you know what you can do.
On the flip side of that, if you're creating like a background or something, you tend to have a lot more freedom in what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Still, it's good to know, like, to make sure it fits in the game, obviously. And we've talked about the different themes and different levels and whatnot, but there are times when you have a lot more freedom. But when you're doing like stuff that needs to be animated and is controlled by the player, it tends to be a lot. You have
always
a
fun.
lot of communication there on both sides.
It's always fun. All right. And the last thing for Make It Work is to try and reuse old designs. And what I mean by this is, like, different types of architecture, different types of armor, all that kind of stuff that actually is object-based can be reused in terms of modeling, or in terms of like actual art styles. If you have something that has like a red, blue, green template, and you see that and you see that you're missing some type of art template on a banner or a building, add that banner on, or add that style on there, and the player can then make the connection themselves that that person's from that town, or of the such. Just basically, you won't have to work as hard if you reuse some of the stuff, and just small tweaks here and there can definitely improve or just make it completely new, even though it's basically the same thing, just reused. So.
And that also stands for game jams, actually. We have no rules against reusing old stuff. I mean, you can find a ton of free assets online. It's not going to be much different from yours, but it's not really in the spirit of the event to just take a game you've already made and put that as in your game and then be done because that's your game. So, and have some restraint in terms of taking in too much old stuff into your game jams, for sure. That the point is you're making something new, so make something new. But yeah, you can definitely reuse old stuff. Oh, now it's me.
All right, and my last slide is when you are making art, you're gonna be happy with one thing. Everything else is gonna be kind of iffy. You're gonna be focused on one thing that you really like about it, and no one else will. So never fall in love with one design. Always make multiple, always have backups. Definitely, whenever you're sketching out your first designs, always make like at least 10, I would say. In the design college, we have to make 40 different artworks, and then 10 of those go into Illustrator or Photoshop. 4 of those come out to get critiqued, and 1 of those gets put back in to get revamped. So basically, we have to do a lot more. I would say for game development, you don't have to do that much. You can use 3 of those designs in different parts of the game. It's not that you have to take all that out. It's just whenever you are using it for a big part of the game, the one thing that you're gonna like just probably is not gonna be used. So don't fall in love with one design. And then, like I said, just have different backups, different artboards on. If you use Photoshop or Illustrator, they do have artboards, so you can have multiple things in one group. So you don't have to use it all in different files. So that's definitely a big thing. So yeah, and then I believe that's my last slide. So
I just want to throw in one quick thing. A lot of you are probably thinking, well, I'm working on my game by myself, so I don't need to worry about dealing with team stuff. Find someone to give you feedback and critique your stuff. If you are not in a team, run your stuff by someone, because if you don't, you'll think your stuff is the greatest all the way through, then you'll hand it to somebody and they'll say, I hate this. And there's people with different opinions. But if you hand it to 5 different people and they all say, I hate this, then you hand it to 20 different people and they all say, I hate this, there's probably something wrong with it. It's probably not you just found the only 20 people on the earth, not in the earth, on the earth that hated it. So, yeah, and that doesn't necessarily stand for art. That's also for all game design and all game dev stuff. Is that if you're by yourself, run stuff by other people, definitely.
Yeah, yep, I would agree. Yeah, because you basically will not get to like your own designs. Basically, is how it goes. So, but I believe that is my last slide for the creative thing. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring pencils. So, do we have pencils by chance?
I'm assuming people brought some sort of writing utensils for the most part. If you don't,
it's kind it's kind of whatever. Basically, what I'm going to have you guys do is I'm going to give you 5 minutes to create or think of something in your head, and then put it down on a piece of paper, and then give it to your neighbor and have them critique it while you explain why. So,
did everybody hear that? I have the feeling a lot of people didn't hear that. Can we quiet down for a moment?
I do have paper.
Okay.
All right, what?
Can you just say that again?
Yes, so basically we're just drawing for the next 5 minutes. You're gonna think of something in your head, you're gonna draw it on a piece of paper, you're gonna hand it to your neighbor once we're done, and then they're gonna critique it to you, or they're gonna critique it while you explain why you drew it, so.
Be honest with your critiques.
Yes.
Don't be mean. It's a very fine line between honest and mean.
Yeah. So, all right, here, I'll get people paper.
You should have let me know. We have like 400 600 sheets of paper in the locker. That we have a ton of sheets in there. That we just it's printing paper that we don't need, so or that we're not using, I guess. But, yeah, I think we have paper to hand out. So
I do. I'm working it out of my book, but it's a sketch. Sure. Who all needs paper?
I mean, I can literally run over next door and grab the. If that'd be better. It's in, okay, it's in, I don't know.
We're handing out paper. Should I announce?
Yeah, sure. Do you have the sign-up sheet?
What?
Do you have the sign-up sheet?
Yeah, we actually did our first stream today.
Yeah, I actually tuned in for like 30 seconds as I was in the middle of something. I was like, oh shoot, they're streaming. I missed it.
What game was that?
That's
Was Bloody Trap. Oh! Yeah. So freaking hard.
yeah, it's not easy.
It is very hard.
Who streamed? I didn't see.
It was.
I was trying to do it by voices. I thought it was you and Aiden, was it? Okay, sweet.
10 seconds, you go like a line paper.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But yeah, definitely. All right, can you guys quiet down for 1 second? We got something that right here.
Hi guys, so I am the streaming chair for the Game Dev Club, and we actually did our first stream today, and I just have a sign-up sheet right here. If you want to like put your name down and then put like a game that you want to bring or something, as well as the console for it if you have it, you can just write your name down here, and then you'll come over to the streaming room and we'll just stream it and talk about the game and just have fun. It's really chill, and even if you don't have a game to bring, you can just come over really whenever we're streaming and we'll just talk. So
We'll find something to play basically.
When are you streaming next?
It's based on whoever signs up. So you sign up with a time that you want to stream at, and then we'll work around that schedule. So yeah.
What consoles do you have on hand?
currently we have PC as well as an Xbox 360.
I know I can bring Switch,
Yeah.
Wii U,
I can bring a
N64.
Switch. But yeah, I mean, we're pretty open. If you have your own console and can bring it, that's great.
So you have a PC there? Or like
Yeah, we have a PC there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that's how we're streaming it. So.
yeah.
Because we get it that when you're doing actual game dev, you don't have a lot of time to just talk about games and sort of go over looking at other people's games. So it's kind of a good opportunity to do that. And
I don't need a pencil.
yeah.
If we start it on screen,
Yeah.
can you say where it is?
Oh, yeah, it's in Pearson. It's in the basement, and I'm not sure, it's in like,
It's in the Pearson basement in a back room. It's totally not sketchy, I swear. We'll help you find it.
If it's 125, but it's in a room that's like off of 125, you go to 125 and you're like, hey, can I use the streaming room? And they'll be like, yeah, sure.
You will totally have both your kidneys by the time you leave. Guaranteed. Nothing sketchy.
If you black out, tell us. That shouldn't happen.
Anyways,
but yeah,
should we do a countdown of 5 minutes then?
totally not sketchy, but here's the sign-up sheet if anybody wants it.
All right, we're gonna start the 5 minutes right now.
About a minute.
I'm sure you guys have already been started, but 5 minutes from now.
Is there a theme that we're supposed to be going for, or is it like...
Nope. Whatever you come up with, you think of it, and you have to
Really open.
clean your art up. So once you give it to someone else, I mean, I don't know how we're going to divide trade, but just give it to someone. Have them explain to you, or have them critique you, and then you explain to them why you drew it.
And if you're having trouble coming up with an idea, something that a lot of people do a lot of the time is they just sort of draw a basic or abstract shape and then try and develop that into a character or
That works, yeah.
the shape of a building or something like that. So if you're having trouble, just sort of make something and then try and make something out of it. It's a lot of fun to try that. So
Last year, right?
yeah,
Yeah, for character design.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun. So just make literally anything.
I gotta start drawing. Where's my paper? I gotta draw something. That's more than one.
Oh, it is more than one.
There you go. Now you get to draw. Got about 2 minutes left. Wait, I'm bad at math. 1.5. Don't ask how that works. Henry, if you need to go, I can take that and I'll. Oh, okay. Ah, gotcha. And done. All right, so what's next?
So, I was thinking while I was drawing. So it probably wouldn't be the easiest thing to do, to have you guys like swap and critique each other. So what I can do is I can put mine on the board up here, and you guys can critique me. How about that? Yeah? All right.
Okay.
It's terrible.
It is a roast. Whoo boy, I like it. I dig it. Yeah, no, that's totally fine.
People want to like sign up at the end of the meeting.
Yeah, well, that's usually the best. Yeah, and then if they do sign up, I'll send you like a picture or whatever, and I'll bring it to the to the exec meeting. Yeah. So
Awesome. Thank you.
no problem. See ya.
I drew every day for over 100 days straight.
I gotta get there's a light.
Then I stopped because like I was with college, and it's all any skill I had to
Fuel.
Is the light worse? The light's worse. There we go.
It's perfect.
I like it.
Me and my snipe.
you ought to know
Yeah.
always tell that to people in his sword.
So,
Like a meme. Oh.
And it's not just version.
do you want me to do the same thing or you good?
What? Oh yeah, sorry. I didn't even think about that.
No, I didn't either until just now, so that's okay. I'm just gonna hold this.
Really
All right. So my little design here is a sock puppet snake. And the person behind the controller is controlling the man that controls the sock puppet. And this sock puppet is fighting monsters that you can't see because I didn't have time to draw those. But he telepathically, he magically holds the
He's a veggie.
What?
VeggieTales.
He's a VeggieTale?
You can't see their arms.
Does that reference fly? Do people know VeggieTales?
Oh, yeah.
VeggieTales have, like, hold the thing.
We watch
on them.
VeggieTales and
They don't hold it, like,
The stuff that they're holding sort of floats around them.
Well, yeah, but that's
generally close to
Yeah, that works.
yeah.
And he fights things with his sword and shield.
VeggieTales. They hold it.
I dig it.
Yeah. All right. Roast me.
I think the shape of the actual like head could fit more of like the sock puppet because usually sock puppets are like really long and like flat.
He needs a bigger snap.
Yeah?
That kind of works if they're doing like a this sort of thing.
There's one thing I'm concerned about, and it's how the person's arm fits in this S curve.
Going straight for the throat.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure his arm's probably broken. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Poor man with a broken arm trying to control it.
Well, it was the monsters that attacked him. It was
Monsters broke the
your monsters broke the arm.
That's his tragic backstory.
bones.
This is not Harry
The
Potter.
eye thing behind it.
That is the shield.
It's the
It's floating on the other side of him.
I got like that.
All right.
Yeah.
So I don't get what your shield is supposed to be shielding if it's basically got a coin slot in it.
I think that's the strap.
That's the.
I think it's facing away.
It is. The perspective is away because I drew the sword on the wrong side. Yes.
He's obviously a right-handed sock puppet.
No, it's you can't tell if it's a left or right-handed. Why?
Okay, you're coming from the right side of the screen, and you're looking from the other side.
Look at this.
It makes more sense.
Right side of
The right side has
Twilight Princess. They made Link right.
All right.
You're the person. You said you were the person, so you're the sock puppet.
Okay. Okay.
So
all right.
right-handed sock puppet that's conveniently left-handed.
Yeah, it's because it gets more centered.
Like, hey.
Because if you're left-handed, then the sword's gonna be out here. If this.
Well, maybe if you're right-handed and then your sock puppet's left-handed, it just cancels out and you're middle-handed though.
See, all you have to do.
I don't know.
Stop. All right. Next. What else is wrong with this?
Maybe you said this, but why is it floating? Is he supposed to have arms? Or
Yeah, he holds them magically.
That's kind of weird. Maybe it needs like some like animations,
Like fake arms?
not even fake arms,
Like a
but
raven.
something to show something is holding it up, like make it look magical.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's a Jedi using a sock puppet.
There you go.
I feel like you're just going to use like a sock puppet element. You can put like the sword in the mouth so when you control it, like as a
Oh, yeah. Okay. Because then it's not magical.
That would be great.
Makes sense.
Switch out between the sword and the shield. Is it just like
Well, if it
picks up the shield, picks up the
hand simulator.
This is the best Dark mod anyone's ever bought.
It's perfect.
Why does the mouse?
like what Reaper.
Why is part of the mouse not attached to the sock?
It takes it from inside the sock.
No, that's his tongue.
Wait,
It's a snake.
Why is the tongue falling to the ground?
Because he's slithering it.
It's like glued and. You ever made a sock puppet that's.
Yeah, I mean it should be it should be petering downwards. It's petering upwards.
Yeah, because it's a real snake on your. It's a real snake puppet on your arm. It's magical.
What's wrong with the sock? Why does it like have no room for the foot and a ton of room for the ankle?
Because it has cankles.
Does this go on?
It's
sock puppets on your feet? No.
You have like a music note for a sock? It's just like a stump.
it's a tube sock for a person with cankles. Okay, it's
Maybe this person just has feet shaped like that. But maybe we shouldn't make fun of people.
Jeez, guys.
They have to specially order all of their socks.
Yes.
And then you just stole it and made a sock puppet.
I think the shield kind of looks like a toaster that's facing towards you.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I wish I had better perspective.
Like when they're in the water, you just throw it at them?
Shoot toaster.
Yeah. No, you throw the toaster and it electrocutes.
Oh yeah, it is a toaster.
Wow. I really wish I wouldn't have done this. All right.
I guess I really don't know what they're fighting, but the sword and the shield look kind of small compared to the sock puppet.
They're, it's true. They're fighting toenails. I don't know.
Oh man.
You know, when she clips her toenails at night, they get kind of everywhere. Okay? I don't know if you've never needed. It's pretty, yeah. With your sock.
Do we know for sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we know for sure that the sock puppet is not being attacked by the sword and the shield? By like other people?
Oh, that's a good concept.
I mean, it's not pointing towards the
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm supposed to.
So if
Classic.
the player is controlling the person who's controlling the sock puppet, how one, how does that really work? And two, how do they control the...
Hand simulator. What? Yeah, I
Is this like a
don't know.
hand simulator?
Hey, if someone wants to make a mod for that, that would not be a bad thing.
Okay, is hand simulator a game version?
Yes, yeah. It's fun, it's fantastic. All right, I'll do like 2 more.
Yeah. Oh, I just have one. Yeah.
Okay.
What if you controlled it in VR and one hand controlled the puppet and the other hand controlled the things you were holding?
Oh.
Like, had to hold it like this.
Oh. That's, VR would be VR hands sock puppets. I like it. All right, and then I'll just take both of them.
Can your ultimate ability just be the other person's other hand just comes in and smashes?
Like you get a second sock puppet.
Sounds like a hammer.
I like that.
This is a suggestion to improve the design.
Yes.
I think you should replace the colored in eye with googly eyes.
That's a good idea. I like that. I think everything could probably be replaced on there in terms of design, but I like the googly eyes.
And then make it first person from the sock puppet.
Yes.
Wait, so your camera...
So it's like a straight.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Do you have 2 separate cameras for the eye?
VR.
Googly eyes. Don't do that in VR.
All right. Well.
It's VR.
All right. Last one.
In opposition. Oh god. Since the shield is a toaster, the sword should be a butter knife.
Toaster. All right. All right. I like it. I mean, it makes sense. I could definitely do like small item. I like the sword could probably be like a toenail clipper if I wanted to do if I wanted to do anything. So, all right. Great critique. Thanks, guys.
For jokes, but there was good info
Yes.
to get out of that. There was certainly good info. So,
but yeah, and basically, obviously it was only 5 minutes or a little bit longer to draw this stuff, and obviously we only went over mine just to get a feel with how it's kind of go. But basically, with all of your designs, you're going to be the person up here getting critiqued by everyone else. So make sure that, I mean, obviously just make sure it looks good. Come up with a few designs and make sure you know how to fight for your designs, because after it leaves you, you can't fight for it anymore. So make sure, yeah, so, all right.
we do have 10 minutes left. Did anyone else want to be the person up here? Did anybody have a design they were proud of and wanted to have people critique?
I'm putting this on my fridge.
I mean, you better, otherwise I'm gonna put that on my fridge. I want that. Do you take commissions?
Otherwise, I can do one.
I mean, you gotta come up here. You can't just hand it up and then hide under the table. You know, this is, you gotta take it.
Ready, do it.
I have no fucking clue what's happening here.
You gotta fight for it.
Well, this
Is it like...
just says roast.
All right, what is that there on the bottom?
I have, oh, it's a tunic?
Okay.
Right? Is that what it's called? Or hide your little penis?
I wanted to be like a low income.
Yeah. God, and a campfire sword. That's amazing.
Yeah. Any critiques, I guess?